and another one done. So this month we read Diary of a Country Priest by Georges Bernanos. And this was a really great insight into what it's like, into what it really is like being a priest. So just as the title says, it is a diary. It is written in diary form. And what's great about that is that you're immediately immersed into the story. And several times I had to stop myself and think, okay, this is not a real story. This is not a real diary that we're looking at. But it's written really, really well to the point where you think you're reading an actual diary. So it's about a priest from Avrancourt who's in charge of 3 parishes, and the parishioners are not very devoted. There's only one woman who comes to Mass every week. So it talks about the trials that he's going through as a priest. In the beginning, he says that the world is devoured by boredom, l'ennui, and that's where it kind of starts. It starts really low. He doesn't know what to do. He's a little lost. He's not a very charismatic priest, and so he decides to write this diary as a conversation between him and God. And like I said, there are many problems in his parish. Not many people are devout. There's only one woman who comes. The kids at school, he teaches catechism to children. At one point there's a girl who seemed promising, but when he got to know her, just basically ended up having a crush on her, and he had to talk to her mother, and did not go very well. He's also very ill. He has cancer, and so he's dying. And the only thing he lives off of is wine and bread, a few fruits here and there, but he eats very little. And so that's where we find this priest. He is a young priest in the countryside, in charge of 3 parishes with parishioners who are not very devout, and he's also ill. Hello, and welcome to October. If you'd like to join me, I would love for you to join me. This month we are reading The Crisis of Civilization by Hillaire Belloc. It's a book about the Protestant Reformation. You can sign up in the link in the description below. There is a Telegram group where we share insights, favorite passages, and then at the end of the month we get together to talk about the book. So I would love to have you join me, but for now let's get back to the book review. I find it to be a brilliant little book. It's a little book, but it's quite intense. Bernanos, the way he writes, is, in a word, intense. He's kind of like just a man screaming, trying to get your attention. Unlike Flannery O'Connor did draw inspiration from Georges Bernanos, and that's why I thought at moments I was like, okay, this is very low, it stays really low, so I kind of compared them, but it's a different kind of low. It doesn't get very happy. There's no up and down. It's quite stable and steady, but it's not grotesque like we would find with Flannery O'Connor. It deals with everything. It deals with modernity, slavery, suicide. My favorite part, and spoiler alert, it's about in the middle of the book where it really changed it for me. He has this conversation with this woman, Madame la Comtesse, and her daughter wanted to commit suicide. She had another child, a boy, who died at 18 months. Her husband was dealing with infidelity. And so we see this woman just breaking down, and the priest having to talk to her because she also wanted to end her life, and she just couldn't see, she asked the questions of like, what happened to my boy? Like, I'd rather have my boy with me in hell than being separated forever in heaven. And there's this moment where he talks about how love can't be love if it is separated from God. It deals with those kinds of issues, with many of those issues. At the time, 19th century, 20th century France was not very Catholic anymore, very anti-clerical. And so to have a book like this come out and become very successful. It was very telling. It made me realize, how much do I actually care for my priest? You know, what we don't realize, I was talking about this with someone in the book club, we don't realize how priests are so lonely. There are many priests out there who live the life of this priest, where they're the only priest for kilometers, miles around, and they have no one to kind of release everything. You know, everybody goes to the priest when they have a problem. It's not like a happy thing. Most of the time we don't go to the priest to say like, hey, got some good news. Maybe, yes, I might be exaggerating, but a lot of the times priests get bad news. And unlike someone who's married or even is in a relationship, you don't have people to tell you to de-stress, to let it all go, and to kind of help you work out through the problems that came throughout your day. And so they're very lonely. The priest who committed suicide, the Italian priest, he must have been very, very lonely. Luckily, the priests where I live, they're three and they live together. And that, I'm sure, helps a lot to be able to live your day and have, you know, other brothers to talk with. A striking thing that I agreed from the very beginning when he was saying like, oh, of course it's easy to be a monk. You know, you have your community, you're isolated, you have a band of brothers, or if you're religious, you're together with some sisters. Whereas priests, we have to deal with the people outside who are not very devout to God. And I'm sure even that alone is kind of a big burden. Just like in any other profession, before several years of experience, you have this ideal image of what it's like, what it's going to be like. And then when the reality hits, it's so much more difficult. And I'm sure that's what it is for many priests. You know, like, I can remember when I was Mormon, and the boys who would go on a mission, they had this crazy idea, like, I'm gonna convert so many people. They had so much hope for the work that they're about to go on. But in reality, when they come back, they realize it's not as peachy as it is. And that's what he talks about a lot, is the sin of despair, the sin of losing hope. You never lose faith, but you can lose hope. You know that God is there, but you just can't trust him. You know, you're losing trust in him, and so you lose hope. You lose hope in good things, and you just fall into despair. And that's greatly dealt in the book. I know there's a movie or two movies, at least one in English, one in French. I have not seen them. If you have seen them, let me know what you think. I find it, I don't know, I would see it more as a play, because the dialogue is really, really wonderful. It is beautifully written. It is not like Oscar Wilde, where there's a lot of flamboyant phrases, vocabulary. It's simple, but very efficient, and it gets to you really quickly. It's kind of like, the discussions are kind of what you can find in Dostoevsky, but very much condensed, and for me at least, more real. When I was reading it, like I said, sometimes I would get lost in the fact that it's not an actual diary. The conversations seem really real, like you could have them today. The pacing is wonderful. Sometimes he just gives random information, like, oh, today wasn't really good. I am very ill. I can't eat, or I can barely eat, etc., etc. So he wrote it really well. I would say if I were to read it again a second time, I would really take the time. There are many passages that are just beautifully written, and if, like I said, it's very, if you want a short course on psychology, this is one of those books. You have every kind of person in here. Anyway, I think that's all that I'd like to share about Journal d'un curé de campagne. If you've read the book, please let me know what you thought. Was it difficult for you to read? Did you like the story? I know Bernanos is not really for everybody. He is, like I said, a very intense read, but I think you should go give him a try. Or if not, try the films. I haven't seen any of the movies, so I'm going to give it a try. Anyways, that's all I have for this one, and I shall see you in the next one.